Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. A couple things I want to talk about. I don't know about you guys, but the last 2 weeks for me have been hell. Total hell, and I don't know why. You hit on soft spots of theirs, and you can tell by their reaction what their soft spots are. And I guess getting into the whole organ donating, organ trafficking is one of their soft spots because, boy, they're having a fit that they don't want me anywhere near it. And so that's exactly where I'm going to go. They've sabotaged almost every show in the last 2 weeks. I've tried to. Just before this show, my headset went. So it's like, oh, no, I need another headset now. But that's all right. There's always more than one way to do this show. I just have to find it. I think this Friday I'm going to try to do a YouTube Live. I've been kind of learning this from the kids. So I'm going to try it. I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody else knows how to do it. You can walk me through it. But I'm going to try to do a YouTube Live. And this way, everybody can go to, the YouTube page I'm on. And there's a chat room that runs alongside the screen. And everybody can chat. And it's on YouTube, and I think that might be accessible for everybody. So we'll see how it goes Friday night. Probably 10 o'clock Friday night Eastern time. I'm thinking later because, it's Friday. I just want to chill. I know on the West Coast that's like 7 o'clock, so that's not even later for them. So we'll try it Friday night and see how it goes. I've been looking through the news and thought it was really funny because on Saturday, I knew this whole thing was going to be a hoax this weekend. I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at all. And usually when they do something, folks, they just do it. There's no warning. They like the element of surprise. And so if they were going to kill 300 million people, do you think, well, these guys are so psychopathic, they probably would warn you. We're going to kill you. But I knew this wasn't going to be that massive an event, that kind of an event, not this early. People are just crazy. But you never knew what they were going to try because they tried the fake eclipse. And because they failed, we're still here. We were ready to go. I did a lot of work for that. And it's kind of just busted the air out of my sails because ever since then we've been stuck here, and it's like, I don't want to be here, and nobody wants to be here. And we were all hyped and looking forward to getting off this rock this year. And it's November 6th, and we're still here. It's hard to even breathe and deal with that. I sure as heck don't want to be here for another pagan Christmas tree event. Nobody wants to be here for Christmas time. I hate December. I just hate that month. I hate it. I don't want to be here for that. And that's the thing to watch for, folks, because, other than their usual, right before Thanksgiving, the main date is December 25th for their arrival. Because, Jesus, or Sananda wants to come and play Jesus. And Jesus was born December 25th. So I know the whole, that our community is waiting for Gesera and the revaluation of world currencies. And, it's not going to happen until these freaks arrive as gods. And so what they really need to do is pin down the dates on when they think these idiots are going to arrive. And, I've been riding this roller coaster for a long time, and it's always the same hype dates every year. And so it's the next one will be like, they'll get you all hyped up for Thanksgiving, and then when they let you down, they'll get you all hyped up for Christmas, and then when they let you down, maybe after New Year. And then when they let you down, they just keep going for the next one. Oh, Passover, Easter, and it's just a hype and a letdown, a hype and a letdown, a hype. I don't care about them. I'm looking at things our way, our view. because we just want to get out of here. And so we're not looking for their arrival. We're looking to be able to leave because the Lord will take home the elect either shortly before they arrive or shortly after. You know, he reacts to them. And I know he told me at the beginning of this year, he said his light would leave this earth this year. This will be the year his light leaves. And it's November 6th, and we're still here. It's hard to take, I know. So I have tried not to be thinking about the winter months and all that garbage because it's just tiring. And, you know, at Nibiru, try to think back in 2012 when all that hype with Nibiru, I think that got really big in November because they were expecting Nibiru to come in November, and that's when it hightailed and left. It really did. It was coming in, and everybody was getting hyped, and it left. It was hitting the orgone-saturated air, and it was burning it. And so it left. It went to the South Pole, south of... they could see it down in Australia. It was down to the Antarctica. It went that way. And it's been there for all this time. And now they built a shield. They put a shield around it. And you can see it because Nibiru is a red dust planet. It looks like wings. It's like a big rock with red wings. But when it hits orgone-saturated air, like a lot of these metal starships, they'll turn blue. And so that's why I did those videos last year. Like, you know, watch for the blue star Kachina could actually be Nibiru turned blue because of the orgone-saturated air hitting the metal. It does something to the metal and turns it blue. If you look at the Capricorn, which is the Ashtar Command's major ship in their star fleet, it's blue. It's a real pretty blue because of the orgone. And so we might get some fun this month. I don't know. I knew this weekend nothing was going to happen. Just, you know, it was just hype. They just wanted energy. They're trying to build energy. But what was crazy was Saturday night at 3:33 a.m., which is 666 to them, my power went totally out. And not just my house, this whole area of Carrollton. The whole area of Carrollton went out. 3:33 a.m. Boom. And it was out till almost 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I was up at 3:30. I was online, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to bed. What else are you going to do? You know, I walked outside to see if I could see anything going on. Not much going on. You know, they keep the skies here so clouded over. You can't see anything. I walked outside, and you know, past the eons of clouds, I could see the sun or the moon rising over there in the northwest. I'm thinking, what is it doing over there? If the moon is all the way over there in the northwest, I know darn well the sun's setting all the way over there in the way southwest because it's been over there. I just haven't seen it in a week or two because I travel on the opposite sides of the sky. Supposed to. Not saying they do because the moon's had a mind of its own for the last 8 years, probably longer. Does what it wants. So we also had the Antifa demonstrations this weekend. I thought that might be fun. That turned into a big fail. That was a huge bust. And we can speculate as to why it turned into such a huge bust. Maybe they were trying to figure out which gender to show up in. They didn't know what to wear, so they just stayed home. They were all mingling outside the restrooms and couldn't decide which one to go in, so they never showed up for the protest. Or their moms got tired of their behavior and told them to stay home. Either way, they're already blaming the Russians. You know, when I was in school, I always had these liberal professors, and I just ignored them because they were like, they were just so nasty. The ones that just thought when they spoke, everybody should listen to what they say, and you know, nobody did. I didn't. But now it's just so domineering with these kids. It's like, why can't you stand up against them? You know, I got an A in my sociology class simply because I was the only conservative in there. And when she would start her crap, I couldn't take it. I would just blurt something out because I was always sarcastic anyway. I just couldn't take it. And she gave me an A because I kept the class interesting. It's like she was hearing something conservative for the first time in her life. She thought it was interesting. I don't know. But these kids, maybe they're waking up and realizing that, hey, this isn't about Black Lives Matter. This is about socialism and communism. Maybe they're waking up. Someone's waking them up. Maybe they're getting away from mainstream media. That's the biggest problem, I think, with a lot of the liberals, is because they listen to mainstream media news, and they're getting all that fake news and false info, and they actually think they're supposed to hate Trump. If they really love America, they're supposed to hate Trump. You know, that's the message they get. It's like no one even watches mainstream media. Turn it off. Turn it off. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. I know people are getting into this Ben Shapiro guy, and I'm just looking at him like, what? Because he's really smart, but when you put him, I thought it was so funny because I was looking at, I don't know, YouTube videos or something. He's always talking to somebody or slamming somebody. But when you see him next to real men, like I think I saw a picture of him next to Alex Jones, and then there was one with him next to just various Hollywood people. He's very, very feminine looking. I'm not so sure he's really a man. I know he's got a wife and kids and all that, but when you look at this guy against real men, nah, it's kind of lacking there. He's a little feminine, real feminine. And he's got this bee voice. He's got this buzzing voice. It's just kind of weird. And they're trying to push this libertarian party stuff, and it's like, you know what, folks, we're all libertarians. We're all constitutionalists, and we're patriots, and most of us are conservatives. But that, you know what, it doesn't mean just because another party has risen up that it's in our best interest. I mean, we're already dealing with two evils because the rhinos have taken over the Republicans and the communists have taken over the Democrats. And so the liberals don't have a party, and the conservatives don't have a party. And then we see this libertarian party raise up, and this is the one Alex Jones promotes, and Ben Shapiro, and probably a bunch of others. And it's a party started and run by the Koch brothers. Really? Can we get away from idiots? Can we just have a grassroots American-bred, American-made party for just Americans? Because, you know, the Koch brothers are just serpent seed Jews. They're fake Jews, serpent seed. So they're the ones behind this libertarian party. I don't want anything to do with parties. Just done with politics. Done. We need to create one huge militia. So I've been watching all this, the movements Trump's been making, because this is the time I've been waiting for since January. This is when Trump drops the hammer. Trump's hammer is going down. And this is what I have been waiting for months. And now you're seeing the fruits. He's slow, but he gets it right. You know, he's slow because he gets it right. And he has to get people around him he can work with. And they just keep throwing dogs at him over and over and over again. The intelligence communities don't tell him anything about the people. And then when he brings them in to work for him, he gets burned by it. Like, who was it? Comey never bothered to tell him that Manafort was a Russian or whatever, ties to Russia, and he was his campaign manager for Trump. Trump didn't know anything about him because Comey didn't tell him. And this is what they do. They withhold information from Trump because they want him to look like an idiot. And then all this crap breaks loose. Like it's supposed to be Trump's fault. And he's got nobody. He doesn't have the rhinos, the communists, nobody. So he's had to pull his bootstraps up, find a group of core people he could work with. And now the hammer comes down, and now it's going to be fun, because this is why you're seeing all these Hollywood people going down, because all the people who mocked him and made fun of him, he's not a man who forgets, and he's going after all of them. He's going after all of them. So this is what's going to be fun. And he's not just going after Hollywood idiots. He's going after the whole House of Saud group that, interestingly enough, is the whole group Queen of England set up. I mean, the Queen of England has always owned Saudi Arabia. I mean, the House of Saud is all people she's put in there. And they talk about like 7 main families over the years that have ruling royalty families, whatever, of Saudi Arabia. They call it the House of Saud. In other words, just another dimple on the Queen's butt. And so now they're going to purge all of the cabal-oriented ones in Saudi Arabia, all the ones who were part of Hillary and Obama and the Queen's little New World Order cabal, and takes the bad guys out of power, put the good ones in. I don't know. this whole thing. Whatever. It's such a game. It's such a game. But apparently he has found some honest people in the NSA to work with him. I didn't think that was possible. There's supposed to be a mass arrest event coming, and I don't know if they're doing it all at once, but there's going to be 440, this is alleged, 440 U.S. Navy officials, including 221 Navy admirals who are responsible for 9/11 that will be arrested. U.S. Navy intelligence dropped a bomb on that. They were the ones behind it. And while Dick Cheney was in NORAD commanding the Air Force stand down, the Navy intelligence in the Pentagon had a headquarters built up for the 9/11 event, and the part that was bombed, that a plane supposedly went through and blew up the Pentagon, that was the area that was the brain center for the whole 9/11 event taking place, because the Capitol was supposed to be blown up too. That plane in Pennsylvania was supposed to go to the Capitol. So that was stopped, actually. 9/11 was supposed to be much bigger than it was. So interesting that now the marbles are going to fall on that, and the people responsible will come out. But you know what? They'll go after all the military people, but they'll stop short at Bush's feet, you know. I would be shocked because he keeps giving everybody a pass, the top criminals. I would be shocked if he implicated Bush Jr. and Bush Sr. in it. You know Bush Sr. did it. Bush Jr. was just a pawn. He just went along with it. He didn't do anything but drink the vodka in the White House for 8 years. He was an alcoholic. And he would shout to the churches, "Oh, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian." He'd laugh. It was all such a joke to him. Senior too, and the Christians would just buy it. And he'd go on the Christian forums and try to warn them that they were Satanists, and he'd kick you out of their forums and their boards. How dare you call him a Satanist? He's a Christian. Oh, the good old days. So the purge is on for now. It's the Trump purge, where he gets to go eliminate bad guys. That's kind of where we're at right now. And everybody else thinks, you know, things are going to turn a leaf by next week. We're in a timestamp for life, folks. I mean, I just, you know, if he's supposed to be gone this purge, and then we're supposed to switch over from the USD dollar to a USN gold-backed dollar, and let's see, the Kennedy files are supposed to come out, and then 9/11 truth files are supposed to come out, and somewhere along the line, this mass arrest event of all these cabal idiots being arrested. Supposedly they've already started that. Believe it when you see it, right? Like somebody we know being taken down and arrested, like Hillary or Bill or Huma, Podesta's. They said they already arrested Podesta, but I don't think there's anything official on that already out. So, you know, we'll see. And then the event's supposed to happen, the global event, the cosmic event, asteroids arriving. I hope so. Bring it on. So that's kind of where we're at, where Trump's hammer's going down. They've kind of chilled the talk on North Korea, so that's kind of a bummer because, you know, that's on the script. Maybe they'll do the event. Maybe they're the ones that will bypass having to blow up North Korea. I don't know. It's their script. Another thing I wanted to mention that's on their script that's been playing out, something I never thought would happen, is this whole Prince Harry thing. Because it was on their script that one of the princes would come to America, marry an American, and then start become involved with politics, run for the Senate or whatever, and then eventually he will be the president of America. How do you like that one, folks? So then you would have Prince Harry running America and Prince William running Great Britain as king at the same time, both brothers. How do you like that one, huh? And so, yeah, you think it's crazy, but he's doing all the right things right now. He's got his tranny, Meghan Markle, whatever. She's a tranny. Because they all have to marry trannies, you know. They're all trannies. And then they'll probably fake a pregnancy like Kate always does. Oh, look, I'm pregnant. And she doesn't have kids. Chinese don't have kids. They just have somebody breed it, It's a breeding farm with them. But he wants to watch him because he wants to entrench his way, worm his way into our politics to where he eventually becomes president. And it'll happen quick, folks. It'll happen fast because there's not a lot of time left. So just watch and see if he marries this Megan here in America and then moves to America. He's not going to move her to Great Britain. He's going to move to America. And that's why you're seeing him at all these events, all of a sudden has an interest in America. He was just in Chicago last week, was it, at Obama's foundation summit or whatever. He's going to put his Obama Foundation's Presidential Resource Center or whatever in the north side of the south side of Chicago. I don't want to get too deep in the south side. But I was watching some of that, and I was like, I want to see that hotel because there's something you're learning about the elite. Is it's they crap where they sleep. It's like this Crown Plaza hotel. It's like you're trying to watch all these videos going on, this footage going on, this Kaninka Jenkins, and you're like seeing all this other nefarious stuff going on. It's like, what are they doing? Why are these people walking around with organ transport devices? I don't think that was supposed to be in the footage of what we were supposed to notice, but everybody does, and and that's what they're getting furious about. And it's like every time I join these discussion forums and start bringing up legitimate questions, they kick me out of them. And so I'm convinced that it's the hotel employee. The hotel has hired debunkers to go on social media sites and keep them at bay. Edit what they're saying, control the discussions, because I get kicked out of all of them. And what am I doing? I'm just asking legitimate questions. Like there's footage shown. I'll give you an example. There's footage shown of this housekeeper pushing a cart of towels into a room. And this is like you think it's a janitor room or something. There's rooms across from the elevators. And so she's pushing this cart in this room. And then later she comes out, and she's got the cart, and there's something in the cart with white towels on it so that you think she's pushing a huge cart of towels, but there's actually a body in there. And then she's got in her other hand this little suitcase, which the exact, if you do research online, you find is an organ transport donor case. They put organs in it. And she's walking down the hallway with this thing. And you're thinking, what is that housekeeper? Well, she must be really strong because she's pushing that cart with one hand and holding that case with the other. And then you decide, maybe I'll see who this medical examiner is who did the autopsy report on Kaninka Jenkins. And then you put the dots together, and you're looking at her picture, and you're like, that's the lady that was pushing the cart with the organ donor transfer case. What is she doing as a medical examiner for Kaninka Jenkins? And so you ask these kinds of questions in the discussion list, and you get kicked out of them. And you look at the death photos, and she's got this triangular area on her side with these black marks. And it's like, that kind of looks like taser prongs, and the whole part underneath that is red, like bruised. So it's not like moles or something she already has. It's some kind of marking she's gotten fairly recent. Heaven forbid you ask that question. I can't get anywhere with these people, and all of the internet discussion boards are being run and controlled by hotel employees. That's what they are. They're there to protect the hotel. Because you can talk about Kaninka all you want, but as soon as you mention the hotel, boom, you get 100 trolls trolling your question and making fun of you and calling you names. Yeah, that's controlled opposition, folks. So yeah, and it's interestingly enough that, remember during the Las Vegas massacre, Saoirse Fayal had a story, and I can't find it now, but she had a story about a hacker, because his house was blown up in Bethesda, Maryland, and they said that was he was a hacker for somebody. He worked with the deep state. Well, they blew up his house for some reason. I don't remember what the story was, why they blew him up, probably keep him quiet about something. Well, they end up finding, because then the news came out with these other stories, when they blew his house up, the fire department was in there after the fire and stuff. They were searching the house through any, find stuff. They found a body in the basement of a young black male. And then they find tunnels, some kind of weird tunnels. The guy was tunneling under his yard. Where's he tunneling to? They never did say where the tunnels led to. I mean, if there's tunnels, all they said was their excavation equipment where he was tunneling under the yard. Well, out of curiosity, wouldn't he just, like, crawl through one of these tunnels to see where it was going? But he ends up, and this is the kicker, this guy's name who owned the house was, what was his name? Daniel, I wrote it down somewhere. Daniel Beckwith. And so he's got this black guy that was abducted, kidnapped, and the fire department's saying there's something going on with the organ trafficking at this house. So it wasn't just a hacker. He was moonlighting on the side as an organ trafficker. And then it turns up that this Daniel Beckwith, who bought this house in Bethesda, Maryland, you guys probably all heard about the hacker whose house they blew up. Well, guess who's he connected to? He's connected to the manager at Rosemont. Wow, big surprise, Rosemont Crown Plaza. He's connected to the manager. I don't know if they're related or what. But it's crazy how deep this story goes. The rabbit hole runs deep. It runs deep. And that's why they're having such a fit that people are actually asking legitimate questions and putting two and two together to expose the whole organ trafficking business that's going on there. I don't know if Kenneka Jenkins will ever get justice. But I'm gonna expose this hotel. And when you do research, a little bit of research on organ donor trafficking, because I really don't know a whole lot about it. It's much bigger than any of us thought, and I'm gonna make a ghastly connection here. When you look at how many countries are involved, because I always thought it was just maybe a United States and America thing, because people want kidneys, hearts, whatever. This is a worldwide problem. 100, almost not 100. I think it's 95 nations have an organ trafficking problem. And when they say that, it means illegal, which means people are being abducted and killed just for their organs. That's a nice way of saying it. Oh, we have a trafficking problem here. In other words, people are disappearing and dying and ending up with organs missing. Well, when you look at the research on it, one of the biggest countries of people who need organs are the Chinese. What are you talking about? The Chinese are healthy. They're skinny. When do you see fat Chinese people? I've never seen a fat Chinese person. They look fit and healthy to me. It's not like looking at America. I mean, we're fat. They're skinny. And the number one reason for that they're saying for needing an organ is for diabetes and high blood pressure. And you're thinking, how are they having diabetic problems? All they do is eat vegetables. It's Chinese food. It's 90% vegetables. And then also India and Pakistan, Israel, the Middle East in general, the largest nations for organ trafficking are America, Israel, China, India, and Pakistan. But one thing they don't mention is a reason for needing kidneys, because kidneys is the number one organ everybody needs, is because of radiation. Most people who are cancer patients you survive cancer, but then your kidneys die because of the radiation, the chemo treatments. I've never heard of huge cancer rates in any other country but ours. I thought ours was the worst. So I'm really shocked. Maybe I'm just a geographic bimbo, but I'm really shocked that the rest of the world is doing so poorly that they all need transplants. Because this stuff's going for big money, and that's why it's such big business. Because one organ is sold an hour, for every hour. It's 24 a day, and being sold around the world. They go up to $500,000 for this stuff. So interesting, because when you look at the Bible, it talks about those who refuse to worship the image of the beast. The choice of execution is beheading. You think, maybe it's because there's no bullets. It's a cheaper way to kill massive amounts of people that won't worship the faggot beast. But you also got to think it's because they want to preserve the other organs. Organ harvesting. They want to cut off the heads and preserve the organs for harvesting. And who have I always said to watch for? who owns America? Chinese. And who's the number one organ harvesting country in the world? Chinese. That's nasty. And you know what? They're Lilith seed. Actually, Chinese are Lilith's children. I don't know why they would. I guess you'd have to know Chinese people to understand their culture as to why so many of them would need organ transplants. I mean, the Middle East, and I was actually looking at Kuru to think maybe this cannibalistic disease does something to their kidneys and then they need new kidneys. But it doesn't say anything about Kuru being able to be cured by a kidney. It doesn't affect their kidneys. It's more like a dementia disease and shaking, like a Alzheimer's and Parkinson's kind of combined. And Kuru's that disease you get from eating human flesh, being cannibalistic. Because we know that the Chinese are kind of cannibalistic. They eat kids in the underground, well, probably in the regular restaurants where we see it online is, they eat them in these restaurants like a delicacy, having an infant baby, a soup, or parting their parts out and selling them at, grocery stores. I mean, that kind of stuff's nasty. You don't know if it's true or not, but this is alarming at how prevalent organ trafficking is, because all these people are disappearing a year. America has like 1 million a year disappearing, and we know the Satanists are huge into human trafficking because they sacrifice them on altars to Satan, and they're doing it daily. They're killing people at military and government-run underground bases almost daily. Sacrifices to Satan, raping and killing kids and humans. But that's, and then you have the other aspect of why all these people are disappearing because of organ harvesting. They're getting their organs harvested. Because the Greys, they used to not eat humans. They used to like to chop them up and put them in cauldrons and boil them and then soak in it like a jacuzzi, because that kept their skin nice and gray and soft or whatever. Otherwise, they'd turn like a pale yellow, and so they like soak in that body part. I mean, this is nasty stuff. This is the stuff I learned when I was researching Dulce Base years ago in New Mexico. What goes on at Dulce Base? That's a lot of humans. It's much massive. It's only 1 million in America. It's much bigger everywhere else. It's not just a sex slave trade. It's not just a satanic, the satanic pedophilia network, which is the network Trump's trying to take down, because they're the ones that are behind kidnapping all these kids, bringing them in. And it's like, okay, Trump, you got to keep going, because it's not just the naval intelligence and the Pentagon. You've got Air Force, you got Northcom, Southcom, and Africom that are huge in trafficking children and bringing them into this country to be raped and killed by the Satanist pedophiles. It's the Air Force is huge behind that. Our military, yeah. At the levels all of them are at, yeah. Back in the day, it was known as Mattis's boys. They were the ones involved with trafficking and all this nefarious stuff. And now look who the chief is in the Pentagon. Mattis. General Mattis. Drain the swamp, Trump. Anyway, be back on Wednesday, folks. Till then, everybody. Don't forget to go to my website, SherryShriner.com, and click on the donate page. Till then, God bless.